that song again, late at night, soft and low, fading light. You were there next to me, no more words, let it be. We stayed close, didn't move, just that sound, slow and smooth. Now it comes back to me, same old line, quietly. Don't ask why, don't go far, just that night where we are. Time goes by, days are new, still that song brings back you. No more plans, no more try, let it come, let it die. Late at night, soft and slow, that same song, long ago, that same song still remains in my heart, just the same.
You were there next to me, quiet nights, easy street, no big words, no big plans, just your eyes, just your hands. Time went by, soft and slow. Where it went, I don't know. Now your name comes again, late at night, now and then. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never die, days are new, years are long, still I hear that old song in my heart, in my mind. What we had stays behind, not too far, not too near, still somehow you are here. You were there long ago, still your trace moves me slow.
long ago. You were there next to me. No more words, let it be. Quiet steps, no one near, just your voice, soft and clear. Now it comes back again, now and then, now and then. Don't ask why I don't try. Some old things never die. Days move on, years go by. Still that night passes by in my heart, in my mind. What we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near. Still that night feels so clear. Late at night, soft and slow, that same trace long ago. I hear you now, soft and low, in that sound long ago. No more words, no more plans, just that time in our hands. We stayed close, didn't move, just that line, soft and smooth. Now it comes back to me quietly, quietly. Don't look back, let it stay like it was yesterday. Time goes on, days are new, still I hear that of you. In the night, when it's still, that same sound comes until it goes down, fades away, but again it will stay. I hear you now, soft and low, that same echo long ago.
There's a light, soft and low, in my heart. Long ago, you were there, close to me. Simple time, easy free. passes by. Still your light stays right here. There's a light, soft and low, still it shines from long ago. That same song, late at night, soft and low, fading light. I hear it now, like before. Simple sound, nothing more. We were there, didn't move, just that line, soft and smooth. Now it comes back to me quietly, quietly. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never die. Time goes on, days are new. Still that song brings back you. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near. Still that song stays right here. That same song, soft and slow, still it plays long ago. Evening light fades away, soft and slow, end of day. You were there next to me, quiet time, easy free. No big words, no big plans, just that night in our hands. Now it comes back again, now and then, now and then. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never never die. Days move on, years go by, still that light passes by. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near, still that glow stays right here. Evening light, soft and low, still it fades long ago. Soft that sound comes again, now and then, now and then. I hear it low in the night, soft and slow, fading light. We were there, didn't move, just that time, soft and smooth. Now it stays here with me, quietly, quietly. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never die. Time goes on, days are new, still that sound brings back you in my heart, in my mind. What we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near, still that sound stays right here. Soft that sound comes and goes, still it hums long ago.
That same line comes again, now and then, now and then. Soft and low in the night, fading slow, fading light. We were there, close and still. No more words, no more will. Now it comes back to me, quietly, quietly. we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near. Still that song stays right here. That same line, soft and slow. Still it stays long ago. Afterwards fade away, nothing more left to say. We were there face to face, quiet time, easy place. No more lines, no more plans, just that night in our hands. Now it comes back again, now and then, now and then. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never die. Time moves on, days are new. Still that night brings back you. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near. Still that time stays right here. Afterwards fade away, still it stays like that day.
Just a while, not too long, but it stays like a song. You were there next to me, simple time, easy free. No big words, no big plans, just that night in our hands. Now it comes back again, now and then, now and then. Don't ask why, don't try. Some old things never die. Days move on, years go by. Still that time passes by. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near. Still your trace stays right here. Just a while, long ago, still it stays soft and slow.
Soft that night comes again. Now and then, fading light in the air. Something stays somewhere there. We were close, didn't move, just that time, soft and smooth. Now it comes back to me, quietly, quietly. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never die. Days move on, years go by. Still that night passes by. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near. Still that feeling stays right here. Soft that night, long ago. Still it comes, soft and slow.
In the night, late and still, something moves without will. I hear you soft and low from that time long ago. We were there side by side. No more words, nothing to hide. Now it comes back again. Now and then, now and then. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never die. Time moves on, days are new. Still that night brings back you. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near. Still your voice stays right here. In the night, soft and slow, still it stays long ago.
long ago. We were there, didn't move, just that time, soft and smooth. No more words, no more plans, just that night in our hands. Now it comes back again, now and then, now and then. Don't look back, let it stay like it was yesterday. Time moves on, days are new, still that line brings back you. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near, still that line stays right here. Just a line, soft and slow, still it stays long ago.
When the night feels so still, everything moves at will. Soft that sound comes again, now and then, now and then. We were there, side by side. No more words, nothing to hide. Now it comes back to me, quietly, quietly. Don't ask why, I don't try. Some old things never die. Time moves on, days are new, still that night brings back you. In my heart, in my mind, what we had stays behind. Not too far, not too near, still that night stays right here. When the night, soft and slow, still it feels long ago.
Morning leans against the window like it's got nowhere to go. Nothing rushing through the silence, just a light and steady flow. There's a calm inside the room now that I never knew before, like a song without a reason, resting softly on the floor. I don't try to name the feeling, I don't try to hold it still. it just stays a little longer, like it always somehow will. Even thoughts that used to wander past me like a distant train, leaving nothing but a whisper, fading slowly into plain. There was once a kind of waiting that would never let me rest. Now it feels a little kinder, like a hand upon my chest. Time is moving, but it's gentle, doesn't pull me like before. Every moment feels a little more than what I had in store. I can hear the day unfolding in the smallest quiet ways. Not a story I am chasing, just a soft and simple place. So I stay here with the feeling, let it come and let it go, like the light across the curtain, moving slow and moving low.
Nothing moves too fast today, light is resting on the floor. I don't feel the need to rush like I did before. There's a chair beside the window, I just sit and let it be. Air comes in without a sound and settles next to me. I can hear a quiet radio somewhere down the street. Not the words, just how it feels, soft and incomplete. There were days I couldn't notice how they slipped away. Now they come back in small ways, more than I can say. I don't try to hold the moment, I don't pull it near. It just stays a little while, then it disappears. Time has changed the way I listen, changed the way I stay. There's a calm I didn't have back in yesterday. Nothing here is asking questions, nothing feels too far. Everything just settles down right where we are.
Trying to stand out. I remember how it felt then, when we didn't need to try. Just a quiet understanding, passing gently by. There was warmth inside the silence, like a place we didn't name. back softly in the way the day begins, in the smallest kind of feeling, somewhere deep within. I don't try to chase the memory, I don't try to make it stay. It just finds me in the stillness, then it fades away. Time has changed the way I see it, but it didn't take it all. There's a trace inside the quiet, in the way the shadows fall. Nothing here is asking for me to return to where we were, but the calm we used to carry still remains for sure. I can feel it in the distance, in the way it slowly moves. Not a story I'm returning, just a quiet truth, and it settles like the evening, soft and low and deep, something warm and never leaving, something I can keep. There's a place inside the quiet where the feeling doesn't fade. Not a moment I can hold on, just a calm that always stayed. Morning comes without a question, light falls softly on the floor. I don't need to look behind me like I did before. There was something in the distance that I couldn't understand. Now it feels a little closer, like it's part of where I stand. I can hear it in the silence, in the way the hours move. Not a sound I try to follow, just a gentle truth. I don't try to name the feeling, I don't try to make it last. It just lives inside the stillness, free from future, free from past. Time has changed the way I hold it, but it didn't let it go. There's a warmth inside the moment, more than I could know. Nothing here is asking for me to go back or stay the same, but the quiet kind of comfort still remains unnamed. I can feel it in the evening, in the way the daylight ends. Not a story I am telling, just a place that gently bends, and it stays without a reason, soft and steady, low and true. Something more than just a memory, something always through.
There's a memory in the hallway, like a shadow on the wall. I don't try to walk toward it, I don't chase it at all. It was something I once lived in, without knowing it would end. Just a stretch of quiet moments I could never comprehend. I can hear it in the distance, in the way the evening falls. Not a voice that calls me back now, just a trace that softly calls. There were things I couldn't say then, words I didn't understand. Now they come back in small pieces, like they're placed inside my hand. I don't try to hold the memory, I don't try to make it stay. It just rests a little while, and it slowly fades away. Time has changed the way I see it, changed the way I let it be. There's a calm inside the silence that it left behind in me. Nothing here is asking questions, nothing feels too far or near. Everything just settles slowly, like it belongs right here. I can feel it in the stillness, in the way the night grows deep. Not a story I return to, just a calm I get to keep. And it's more than just a memory, it's a place I understand. Something quiet, something lasting, something close but never planned. Light stays low today, nothing feels too bright. Shadows move across the wall, soft and out of sight. There's a chair beside the window, I don't need to move. Air comes in without a sound, nothing left to prove. I can hear a quiet radio somewhere far away. Not the words, just how it feels, passing through the day. There were days I moved too quickly, didn't see them go. Now they pass a little slower, more than I can know. I don't try to hold the moment, I don't make it stay. It just rests a little while, then it fades away. Time has changed the way I listen, changed the way I stay. Everything feels a little softer in a quieter way. Nothing here is asking questions, nothing feels too far. Everything just settles slowly, right where we are. I can feel it in the silence, in the way it stays. Not a memory I follow, just a quiet place. And it stays without a reason, soft and low and deep. Something I don't need to name now.
a day without a name, soft and passing by, nothing asking where to go, nothing asking why. I remember how it felt then, when we didn't try, just a quiet kind of living, letting time go by. There was warmth inside the silence, like it always knew, not a thing we tried to hold on, still it stayed with you. Even now it comes back softly, in the way it flows, not a sound I try to follow, just a feeling close. I don't try to make it clearer, I don't make it stay, it just lives inside the stillness, then it fades away. Time has changed the way I see it, but it didn't end. There's a trace inside the quiet that returns again. Nothing here is asking for me to go back in time, but the calm we used to carry still feels like it's mine. I can feel it in the distance, in the way it moves, not a story I am telling, just a quiet truth, and it settles like the daylight, soft and low and wide, something warm and never leaving, something deep inside. There's a place the air feels warm, even when it's gone, not a thing I try to hold, still it lingers on. I remember how it found me in the quiet days, not a moment I was chasing, still it chose to stay. There was something in the silence that we never named, not a promise we were holding, still it felt the same. Even now it comes back slowly, in the way it flows, not a sound I try to follow, just a feeling close. I don't try to keep it near me, I don't make it last, it just lives inside the stillness, free from future past. Time has changed the way I feel it, but it didn't fade. There's a warmth inside the moment that it always made. Nothing here is asking for me to return again, but the quiet kind of comfort still remains within. I can feel it in the evening, in the way it stays, not a story I am chasing, just a gentle place. And it settles like a memory, soft and low and true, something warm and never leaving, something close to you.
There's a way it stayed with me. I can't put in words, not a thing I tried to keep. Still it's always hurt. I remember how it felt then, simple and so clear. Nothing asking for a reason, nothing pulling near. There was something in the silence that I couldn't name. Now it feels a little closer, still it stays the same. I don't try to hold the moment, I don't bring it back. It just stays a little longer, then it fades to black. Time has changed the way I see it, changed the way I stay. There's a calm inside the quiet that won't go away. Nothing here is asking questions, nothing feels too far. Everything just settles slowly, right where we are. I can feel it in the stillness, in the way it grows. Not a story I return to, just a feeling close. And it stays without a reason, soft and low and deep. Something I don't need to question, something I can keep. There's a calm I came to know over passing time, not a thing I tried to find, still it feels like mine. I remember how it found me when I wasn't near, not a moment I was chasing, still it brought me here. There was something in the silence that I didn't see. Now it feels a little closer, like it's part of me. I don't try to hold the feeling, I don't make it stay. It just lives inside the stillness, then it fades away. Time has changed the way I listen, changed the way I move. Everything feels a little lighter, nothing left to prove. Nothing here is asking questions, nothing pulls me far. Everything just settles slowly, right where we are. I can feel it in the silence, in the way it stays. Not a memory I follow, just a quiet place. Without a reason, soft and low and true. Something more than just a moment, something I can keep.
Stay soft all day, nothing asks for more. Light moves slowly through the room, across the floor. I can hear the hour passing in a quiet way. Not a thing I need to hold or make it stay. There were days I didn't notice how they came and went. Now they feel a little close in the time they spent. I don't try to name the feeling, I don't make it clear. It just lives inside the calm and stays near. Nothing pulls the moment forward, nothing turns too fast. Everything just stays as it is and gently lasts. Time has changed the way I see it, but it didn't fade. There's a warmth inside the stillness that the daylight made. Nothing here is asking for me to return again, but the quiet kind of comfort still remains within. I can feel it in the silence, in the way it stays. Not a story I am telling, just a quiet place. And it settles without reason, soft and low and true. Something simple, something easy, something I can keep. Nothing changes in the light, it just stays the same. Morning rests upon the wall without a name. I remember days like this, quiet and slow. Not a thing I had to ask or need to know. There was comfort in the silence we did not explain. It was never loud or bright, still it remained. Even now it comes back softly in the way it moves. Not a sound I try to follow, just a quiet truth. I don't try to keep the feeling, I don't make it stay. It just lives inside the stillness through the day. Time has changed the way I hold it, but it didn't end. There's a trace inside the calm that returns again. Nothing here is asking for me to go back in time, but the peace I used to carry still feels close to mine. I can feel it in the daylight, in the way it stays. Not a story I am chasing, just a gentle place. And it settles without effort, soft and low and deep. Something warm and something steady, something I can keep. There's a quiet place inside where I sometimes go. Nothing asks me who I was, nothing needs to know. I remember how it felt then, soft and unaware, just a simple kind of living, floating in the air. There was something in the silence that we never named, not a promise we were holding, still it stayed the same. Even now it comes back softly in the way it flows, not a sound I try to follow, just a feeling close. I don't try to make it clearer, I don't make it stay. It just lives inside the stillness, then it fades away. Time has changed the way I feel it, but it didn't end. There's a trace inside the quiet that returns again. Nothing here is asking for me to go back in time, but the calm we used to carry still feels like it's mine. I can feel it in the distance, in the way it moves, not a story I am telling, just a quiet truth. There's a place where nothing changes, everything stays still. Not a thing I need to follow, not a thing I will. Morning comes without a question, light falls on the floor. I don't need to look behind me like I did before. There was something in the silence that I didn't see. Now it feels a little closer, like it's part of me. I can hear it in the quiet, in the way it flows, not a sound I try to follow, just a feeling close. I don't try to hold the moment, I don't make it stay. It just lives inside the stillness, then it fades away. Nothing here is asking for me to go back or stay, but the calm I came to carry doesn't go away. I can feel it in the evening, just a place that bends, and it stays without a reason, soft and low and true. Something more than just a memory, something I can keep.
The day comes to a quiet end, light begins to fade. Nothing left to figure out, nothing left to say. I can hear a distant memory in the air, I know. Not a sound I try to follow, just a steady flow. There were times I didn't notice how it came and went. Now it feels a little closer in the time I spend. I don't try to hold the feeling, I don't make it stay. It just rests a little while, then it fades away. There's a calm inside the silence that I understand. Not a thing I need to question, just the way it stands. Time has changed the way I listen, changed the way I move. Everything feels a little softer, nothing left to prove. Nothing here is asking questions, nothing pulls me far. Everything just settles slowly, right where we are. I can feel it in the stillness, in the way it stays. Not a memory I follow, just a quiet place. Tonight I opened up the drawer I had not touched in years. Beneath some faded letters and quiet yesterdays, there it was between the pages of a book we used to read. A photograph of you and me on an August afternoon. You were smiling at the camera like the world was ours to keep, and I was standing next to you like love could never leave. The sunlight on your hair that day still lingers in that frame, and somehow even after all this time it still feels like your name. We were young enough to believe nothing golden fades, like the music from the radio in those slow and easy days. But life kept turning softly like the pages of a year, and all the roads we thought we'd share became memories from here. Still I couldn't throw that picture, though I tried a time or two, because some things keep on holding all the parts of me and you. Maybe love does not stay with us the way we thought it would, but it leaves a little light behind in places time stood still. Now the room is growing quiet and the night is settling in, but the photograph before me feels warm against my hands. So I place it on the table where the lamp gives off its glow, and for one more silent moment I am young with you again.
In a box beside the bed, tucked between some faded letters and the words we never said. There you were in summer sunlight with that easy, quiet smile, like the world had just begun and would stay that way a while. I remember how we laughed then without fear of what might change. Every little day felt endless, every dream was close and strange. You were wearing that blue sweater that I always loved on you, and I stood there just behind you in a sky of tender blue. Looking at that old small picture brought the whole night back to me, like a song I had once forgotten, finding its old melody. We were young and full of morning, still untouched by going far, still believing love could guide us like a steady evening star. But the years grew deep and distant, like the tide beyond the shore, and the hands that used to hold me do not reach for mine anymore. Still your smile inside that picture has not changed with passing time. It remains so warm and gentle, like a soft unfinished line. Maybe somewhere you still keep one from those days we thought were true, and from time to time you open it the way I just opened you. Now the room is dark and quiet, and the lamp is burning low, but your smile in that old picture still gives off a tender glow.
Found your letter in a shoebox underneath some winter clothes, folded small and almost weightless, like a secret no one knows. paper felt a little fragile from the years it waited there, and the ink had started fading like the perfume in the air. You had written on a Sunday in a room I used to know about the songs upon your radio and the rain outside the window. There were words about tomorrow and the places we might go, and the simple kind of promise only young hearts ever know. I could almost hear your voice again in every careful line, like you were still beside me in another place and time. We were young enough to trust it, every dream we made by hand, like the world would keep on turning just the way we always planned. But the years moved through us quietly, like a train beyond the hill, and the letters stayed behind while everything else would not stand still. Still your handwriting was gentle, even after all these years, like the shape of love remembered through the blur of old tears. Maybe time can fade the paper and the colors we once knew, but it could not take the feeling of those words I read from you. Now the room is dark and silent, and the night is settling slow, but the letter faded with time, still says more than I can show. There's an old frame on the bookshelf, turned a little toward the wall. I had left it there for years now, meaning not to look at all. But tonight I picked it up as the room grew calm and dim, and I saw us in that picture like a light that had not thinned. You were wearing summer colors, I was trying not to smile, and the sky behind our shoulders looked as if it would stay a while. We were standing by the water on a day without an end, still too young to know how quickly golden hours start to bend. There was nothing grand between us, just your hand inside my own, and the easy kind of silence that made every place feel home. We believed in simple futures in the song for us in the plans we quietly made. But the years grew wider slowly, like the distance of the sea. And the life we thought we'd walk through changed for you and changed for me. Still that frame keeps one small moment safe from everything that came, where the light stayed on your face. We were young in that frame. Maybe love is not the staying. Maybe love is what remains in a picture softly waiting, while the whole world turns and changes. Now I set it by the lamp where the evening shadows fall, and for one more quiet minute we have not grown old at all.
On the shelf since the days when we were younger, and I still knew you well. Then a photograph slipped gently from between the yellowed pages, like a quiet little secret, safe from all the passing ages. There we were beside the station, on a softly glowing day. You were smiling at the distance, as if time could never change. I remember what you whispered just before the picture came. Something small and full of sunlight that I never could erase. There were letters in the colors, softened only by the years, and your face stayed full of summer, untouched by loss or fear. Maybe love is not forever in the way we used to dream, but it hides between the pages of the life that might have been. Now I place it by the window where the evening light falls through, and for one more quiet moment it feels like I'm there with you.
Beneath the bed, with the corners worn and softened by the years we never said. There you were beside the water in the middle of July, with the sunlight on your shoulders and the whole world in your eyes. You were laughing at somebody just outside the camera frame, and the wind was moving lightly through your hair without a name. I remember how that summer felt too wide to ever end, like the roads we drove together would keep turning round again. There were songs upon the radio and a warm and fading sky, and the kind of quiet feeling that never thought goodbye. We were young enough to trust it, every hour, every plan, like the world would stay that simple if we only held our hands. But the years grew tall between us like the distance after rain, and the days we thought would wait for us did not wait the same. Still the picture keeps one moment where no sorrow had begun, where your smile was lit with August and your face was full of sun. Maybe love is not forever in the way we dreamed it was, but it lives in little fragments. Time was never strong enough. Now I keep that photo near me as the room turns blue and still, and the way you look that summer feels like something with me still. One old photo on the table and the whole night in my hands. That was all it took to bring back all the roads we never planned. It was taken near the station on a cold October day. You were looking past the camera like you had somewhere to stay. I was standing close beside you, trying not to look too proud, while the afternoon behind us turned the city soft and loud. There were leaves around our footsteps, and the sky was turning gold, and we thought the years before us would be kinder as we grew old. But the years became a language we did not know how to read, and the life we kept imagining moved away from what we'd need. Still that picture holds a silence only we would understand, like the pause between two verses or the touch of someone's hand. I can hear the old songs playing from the radio downstairs, and the room is full of shadows and the dust of borrowed years. Maybe somewhere you remember that same photograph tonight, and the way the evening settled softly into yellow light. Maybe you still see my sweater and the smile you almost gave, and the look we wore before life became something we could not say. Now the house is growing quieter, and the hour is moving slow. One old photo, one long night, and nowhere else to go.
There's a cardboard box in my closet that I almost threw away, filled with little things from other years and ordinary days. Movie stubs and folded letters, a ribbon from your coat, a map from one long weekend drive with circles that we wrote. And beneath a stack of snapshots tied with thin cotton string were the days we left inside a box like they still belonged to spring. There were pictures by the seaside, and one outside your door, and one of us beside the lamp in the room we can't restore. I remember how we kept them, thinking time would always care for the little proof of living that two people once were there. We were young and full of reasons to believe in what would last, like a song that keeps on playing even after it has passed. But life is not a straight road, and love is not a chain. Sometimes it stays in paper things, and sometimes only rain. Still I hold those faded moments like a warmth I used to know, and each picture gives the silence just a little more of glow. Maybe all we really keep are bits of laughter, bits of light, little days we thought were ordinary, shining softly in the night. So I close the box so gently, but I do not put it far. Because the days we left inside it still know exactly who we are.
I was looking for a pen tonight in the bottom kitchen drawer when I found an old receipt with your name on it once more. Just a little piece of paper from a bookstore downtown, but the way your name was written set the whole room spinning round. I remember that December when we walked there in the cold, and you held your coat around you like the evening could be told. You were choosing out a notebook, and I paid before you knew. Then you laughed and wrote your name there in the kind of script you do. I had forgotten all about it, or at least I thought I had. But some names do not grow smaller even after good and bad. There were winters after winter, and other streets and rooms, and the life that kept on asking us to learn a different tune. Still that little handwritten moment waited quietly all along, hidden underneath the silverware and days that had moved on. Maybe love does not return to us with grand and shining signs. Maybe it comes back in ink across a pale and thinning line. Now the house is still around me, and the hour is almost through, but I found your name in a drawer tonight, and somehow I found you too. There's a faded album on the shelf with a cover cracked and worn, full of little captured afternoons and quiet summer mornings. I opened it tonight by accident, maybe not by chance, and there we were in paper time before the years advanced. The first page held a seaside day with your shoes beside the sand. The second had a birthday smile and my arm around your hand. Then came roads and cafes, rain against the window pane, Sunday light across your shoulder, and our shadows in a train. Every page became a season, every season held a song, and the way we leaned toward each other like we thought we'd both belong. We were young enough to think that pictures kept the whole truth safe, that if a moment could be printed, love would never lose its shape. But albums fade like voices do, and corners turn to gray. Still the heart can read the colors that the years have washed away. There is one where you are laughing at something I had said, and even now that look can fill an empty room instead. Maybe all our story needed was a place to rest a while, not in promises forever, but in one remembered smile. So I close the album slowly as the lamp burns soft and low. But our story in that faded book still has its own warm glow.
There's a picture in my dresser, wrapped inside a linen case. I have kept it through the seasons like a quiet hidden place. It was taken by the harbor on a softly clouded day. You were looking at the water as the wind pulled you away. I was standing just behind you with a smile I tried to hide, like the whole world had grown gentle simply having you beside. We were young enough to linger after every little plan, turning ordinary moments into something more than that. There were fairies in the distance, and the smell of summer rain, and the kind of peaceful silence that made us feel the same. Years have gathered like old curtains full of dust and afternoon. Still that picture keeps its color like a slow remembered tune. Maybe love is not the promise we were certain it would be. Maybe love is just the softness that a memory lets us keep. Sometimes late at night I open that small case and look once more at the harbor, at your profile, at the light we carried ashore. And the room grows warm around me, though the years are far and deep, because some hearts never lose the picture they still keep.
Found a photo in a hallway drawer among old keys and thread. Just a little square of paper from a life we used to live. There you were beside the window with the morning in your hair, wearing that familiar sweater and a look beyond compare. You were not facing the camera quite as much as facing me, and the smile you almost offered held more than words could ever mean. It was from a quiet Sunday when the house was still and bright, and the radio was playing soft songs through the morning light. We had nowhere we were going and no reason not to stay, so we let the hours gather like warm dust upon the day. Now that smile from long ago returns without a sound, like a melody I knew once that still quietly comes around. Maybe time can thin a memory like rain on painted wood, but it cannot take the feeling of the days when life felt good. Sometimes all that stays is one glance, half a smile and borrowed sun. Still it holds an entire season after all the years are done. So I place that photo gently back where it was waiting too, and the smile from long ago feels a little close to you. When I opened the old album, dust rose lightly in the air, like a room that had been sleeping long before I found it there. Page by page the years came back in colors soft and warm, seaside roads and evening diners, rainy nights and Sunday dawn. There was one of you in autumn by the bookstore in the square. Leaves were caught inside your coat and the wind was in your hair. There was one beside the river with your hand around my sleeve, and I can still recall the silence of that slow October evening. Every picture held a season, every season held a song, and each song still seems to linger, though the days themselves are gone. We believed in little promises made beneath the yellow light, and the kind of simple closeness that can fill an ordinary night. But time is not a careful keeper. It lets pages curl and fade. Still the heart can find its way through what the years have rearranged. Maybe memory is gentler than the life we really knew. It leaves the warmth upon the edges and forgets what we went through. Now the album closes softly as the lamp burns low and blue. But when I open the old album, I found a world that still had you.
ahead. Little windows full of sunlight, and the words we never said. Some are folded in a drawer now, some are tucked inside a book, some still rest inside an album. No one opens just to look. There's the one beside the station where you laughed and turned away, and the one beneath the awning on a soft and rainy day. There's the one in winter shadows with your hand inside my coat, and the summer by the seashore where our names were never wrote. We were young enough to trust it, every road and every sky, like the world would hold us gently if we did not ask it why. But the days kept moving onward, like a train beyond the hill. Still the love we left in photographs waits in quiet places still. Maybe that is how it stays now, not in promises or rings, but in little captured moments and the warmth remembrance brings. Sometimes late at night I see them by the lamp's familiar glow, and the house feels full of footsteps from a life I used to know. Though the years have changed the story, and the rooms are not the same, the love we left in photographs still softly says your name.
Tonight I took the album down from the highest shelf at home, like I knew the hour had come to let the old days slowly show. I turned the pages carefully as the room grew soft and dim, and every photograph returned like a quiet evening hymn. There were roads we used to travel and cafes we used to know, rain against a bus stop window, and your face in amber glow. There were birthdays by the kitchen and the seaside after rain, and the look you gave me once that never quite has left my name. We were young enough to think the future would not ask too much, that love would keep its easy shape if we simply kept in touch. But the years are made of turning, and the heart is made of grace, so we lose what we were holding, yet still remember every place. Maybe yesterday is not a place we ever can return, but it leaves a little fire behind in everything we learn. So I sit beside the lamplight with the album on my knee, taking one last look at yesterday before I let it sleep. And the final page grows quiet, like the ending of a song, but your light stays in the silence long after I move on.